Moor colony. So it's clear that the Moors were doing some stuff. Right? It was clear that there was some type of activity taking place with regard to Moors during Noble Juwadi's time. Our Boys and the Southside Boys Club Foundation. All men were once boys, even the greatest among them. Most of them came from poor and obscure parentage. None had the opportunity which the parent affords. Some, however, were carefully brought up under wholesome training and surrounded by agencies for good, made names for themselves, their race and country in the written records of achievement. But what about our boys of the streets? What about our boys who have no parents? What about our boys who are real victims of wrecked homes? What agencies are working for the betterment, trying to help them to grow into useful manhood and trying to make their underprivileged lives more cheerful? These are the problems which are being solved at the Southside Boys Club Foundation, 3947 Michigan Avenue, under the leadership of Superintendent B.V. Church with the faithful assistance of Colonel Harry Wesley. The spirit and effort shown by the benevolent philanthropists who established this valuable institution should be met with hearty cooperation of parents, religious organizations, club workers, civic organizations, and wealthy individuals of our group. Up to the present time, individuals and organizations alike of our group, for the most part, have sadly neglected monument civic progress. Many who could have shown no civic pride at all. Or just back then. So in 1928, there was already people not showing civic pride. In 28, there was people already starting to get back into the whole mode of be a Christian with a fez on and think that being a Moor is only inside here, not outside the door. The benevolent philanthropists who, giving their finances and lending their support in the interest of our less fortunate boys, should be encouraged by willing response and cooperation both in finance and in goodwill. Race pride alone should prompt us to help shoulder the burden. Go to the Boys Club Foundation and watch the youngsters at mealtime scamper here and there, partaking of good things, coming from where they do not know, nor do they ask. They are satisfied in being there, and to look upon them, one has the feeling that this cannot go on without his or her support. The meals are prepared at noon for the undernourished kiddies of the community. A story has been told of a poor farmer who was about to lose his holding. The banker turned him down on his application for a renewal of a mortgage. He made his way to a lifelong friend. He took from his pocket a small pebble, very rough in appearance. The jeweler casually asked him, where did he get the pebble? Very much hurt because his friend the jeweler seemed more interested in the pebble than in the proposed loan, he exclaimed, is that all you can think of? I have hundreds of these in my home. I picked them up because they're peculiar shape to use as ornaments. The jeweler laughingly told his friend that he would lend him the money to pay his mortgage if he would sell him the plot of ground on which the pebbles had been found. The deal was closed. Next day in the papers was an almost unbelievable story of a diamond field in the countryside. The trained eye of the jeweler had seen the beauty of the diamond even in the rough pebbles. The Southside Boys Club Foundation is made up roughly of pebbles. It takes sympathy, patience, interest, and the trained eye of men, well versed in the training and handling of young men, to see the hidden beauty beneath the rough exterior. Remember that better boys make better men, and better men will make better husbands for our daughters. Our boys and the Southside Boys Club Foundation. Right? So when we look at that, we can realize why now in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, why Noble Drew Ali, before anything, after the so-called information in the Aquarian Gospel, before anything else, the first chapter of his holy instructions, chapter 20, is holy instructions and warnings for all young men. Right? Letting the individuals who have this book be able to sit down with their young boys and give them the lessons that's divinely prepared by the prophet for their evolution, right? Chapter 21, marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet. Chapter 22, holy instructions from the prophet, duty of a husband. Chapter 23, holy instructions for thy children. Chapter 24, the obedience of children towards their father. So he's moving toward teaching young men, young women, children, certain fundamental lessons that they would need in order for them to have a proper mind so that they can be trained properly to make sure that they're better men, better husbands, etc. like that. Right? And this is why Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that they should study their Quran. And this is why Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that it's divinely prepared, because he knew that people are going to come and try to convince you that, you know, the Quran is something else, came from somewhere else. Don't even think about that book from that perspective, because, you know, that came from some European or whatever. Noble Drew Ali plagiarized some European. But then the Europeans used the Aquarian Gospel that they say Noble Drew Ali plagiarized. Europeans used the Aquarian Gospel to make sure that their children know how it is out there. That's why their children are passing us and our children are going the other direction. Or still standing at the line waiting for the gun to go off or whatever. Gun done went off 50 years ago. And they're talking about when's the race going to start, and people are racist. They didn't let them know that they were going to pull the trigger and all that type of stuff when it's supposed to be common knowledge. Like, it's not supposed to be the negligent mindset like how our people have it, because they've been told. Garvey told them, Malcolm told them, Martin told them, freaking Dalai Lama told them. You name it, everybody told them. Learn to love instead of hate. You are a nation. Practice nationhood. There's unity amongst our people or whatever like that. Garvey told them, you know, the only way you're going to be happy is if you have a nationality. Carlos Cooks came, put the black fezzes on the African Legion. Khalid came, said that he's a Moor. Even though he said that he's black, but he said that he's a Moor. But then when you talk to black guys, they never say that they're Moor. All they do is say that they're black. But they say that they honor Khalid Muhammad and he's their prophet. Well, he says that he's Moor. So how come you guys don't say that you're Moor? How come they don't follow the pattern of their quote-unquote prophet Khalid Muhammad? They're going to talk about unity with the Moors and with the Moors, but let's hear them say that they're Moor. You're never going to hear it. So as soon as they say that, then they disqualify themselves for being the sellouts that they are, pushing this black thing the whole time. When they know that they're Moors, and they were taught that they are. right? So we'll just open up the floor. We got no online questions today. I don't know if anybody in the chat has a question. Just send your email, canaanlandguide@gmail.com. And we'll just open up the floor for anybody if they got questions to present those now. Relative to whatever, anything at all. Doesn't matter. Anything? Nothing?
So what is Mahat law? You said Mahat is law. How do you spell that?
M-A-A-T.
M-A-A-T. So Ma'at represents the scale of justice, where your heart will be weighed with that of a feather when you go into the afterworld to see if you're gonna ascend or if Osiris is gonna take you into the death world. Right? Ma'at represented scales. The only other thing scales represent, astrology and law. That's it. So when the ancient Egyptians said Ma'at, they were talking about the 42 confessions. The 42 confessions that the deceased individual had to make to qualify their heart being light as a feather. And then if you look up 42 confessions of Ma'at, that'll come up online, and then the 42 confessions of Ma'at is where they get the 10 commandments from. So they took 10 of these, so they got 32 stuff that people have no idea about, that they do every day, that's sinning. That was laid down here. Right? So the 32 that's missing, right, is what the Masons adopted. Why they're on the level that they're at as far as society is concerned. Because once you extract the 10 commandments and you have the 32 left, and you read those 32, you realize why they have the power that they have. And why they have $30,000 rugs of Queen Sheba and King Tut stuff at their house. Because it's really a science. It's not, they went in the tomb and then they took the stuff out and now they have all our culture. It's not, that's not what, it's really about the science. Right? It's about
what's the science? What's the science? When you say science, what does that mean?
Like, okay, for example, law is a science. Right? Astrology is a science. Right? You're looking at when we say science, we're talking about the things behind the veil. We're not talking about just what you read on the page. In between, hidden between the lines, right? Hidden between the lines is look for the science. Don't just take what's said as face value. Like if we go anywhere, right?